Okay guys, I'm going to show you guys how to replace a tube on the 155mm or 150mm Hota wheels that we use on Summit XT, the pneumatic wheels with the tube in them. So this is a rear wheel. We already took it off the board using the skate tool that the board comes with. We removed that nut and then we just took the wheel off. In taking off the back wheel, you're going to have to twist along with the belt and pull up at the same time. You're twisting, you're pulling. So we got that wheel off. We're gonna take the pulley off now with a flathead screwdriver. You can just give it a little pry out, super easy. You can probably just take it off with your hands too if you wanted. First step in replacing this tube on this wheel is we're going to remove this, and then we're going to take the air out of the tube. So if you're replacing the tube, most likely it's flat already. But for whatever other reason, if you're replacing a tube that has air in it, let's let the air out of that tube, okay guys? So just get the air out of there. And then the next step is we're going to remove these bolts in the wheel, okay? So we're going to use a 2.5mm metric Allen key to do that, and that's the Allen key size that removes most of the bolts in our products, especially when it comes to Summit XT. So on the other side of this wheel that the bolt connects into, there's a nut over here, okay? And that information is going to come in handy later on when we get this wheel apart and we replace the tube. Okay, so as you see, the nut is falling out there on the other side. Okay, so we're removing that, removing each bolt. Total of 5 bolts. Gonna remove those. Here we go. Okay, so we've got those bolts out, and now we can just pull the wheel apart. Okay, popping off each side there. Okay, so now we're going to remove the old tube. Let's get that old tube out of there. Sometimes there will be some air left in there, so you can push in on the valve stem and push out on the tube just to get the excess air out of there. Make it a little bit easier to remove from the tire. Okay, there we go. So we got a fresh tube right here. You're gonna wanna make sure that the stem is facing outward on the same side of the tire as the tube that you removed. So if you guys rewind, you'll see that this was facing outwards on this side of the wheel, okay? So you're gonna wanna make sure it's on the same side so that the tread pattern on the tire is facing the correct way, and when you install that wheel back on the board, the wheel will be installed properly, not improperly. Okay guys, so both sides of the wheel are the same. So let's go, and as you can see, there's an indent right here for the tube stem. So let's line that up with the tube. Doesn't matter which side of the wheel you put on the back, because like I said, they're both the same, okay? Okay, so we're gonna get that spacer back in the wheel, guys. And then you're gonna see the tube is sticking out a little bit over the wheel, okay? So you can see there's an edge here along the hub part of the wheel. And we also know about this indent that's made for the stem, the tube stem. So we're gonna line that up. It's gonna go over the tube stem. And then regarding the edges, we're gonna wanna make sure those edges, make sure the tube is not getting caught in those edges, guys. So let's just push that down against the back side of the wheel. We're gonna make sure the tube isn't in there. And then we've got a couple of holes lined up here already, okay? So what we're gonna do one bolt at a time. That's it. We're gonna put that bolt in there. We're gonna hop around to the back side. And we're gonna put that nut in. Okay, and the wheel is made to fit that nut. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna hold the nut with our finger. We're gonna flip that over. Okay, we got the Allen key here, and we're gonna get a couple turns in. Okay, we're not gonna tighten it all the way. We're just gonna get a couple turns in. Then we're gonna move on to the next hole here, okay? And then we're just gonna make sure that there's no tube in between the edges of the hub part of the wheel, okay? So once we know that there's no tube being pinched by the wheel, we're gonna do the same process. We're gonna put that bolt in here. We're gonna do one bolt at a time, guys. So we got that bolt in there, and then we're gonna put the nut in on the other side. Okay, remember, we're gonna hold that nut with our finger so it doesn't fall out, and then we're gonna couple turns, only a couple turns, doesn't need to be tightened all the way. Okay, gonna get a couple turns in. I'm right-handed right now. I'm doing this with my left, so a little bit harder than with my right. And as you can see, guys, we've got the tube poking out. I don't know if you guys can see that. We've got the tube poking out here, okay? So on the third part, the third bolt, we're just gonna wanna make sure that the tube is not being pinched by the inner part of the wheel. Sometimes you can even just use the Allen key. Just push that tube in there, okay? Push the tube in. And the Allen key actually works better than the butter knife. Yeah, so when you hear that click, we got a little bit of the tube out here on one of them. Okay, we're looking good. So that tube is not being pinched at all right now. And the best thing to use to push that tube in so it's not being pinched by the hub plastic part of the wheel is the Allen key. Use the same Allen key that you took these bolts out with. So again, we're doing one at a time. We're doing one bolt at a time. We're making sure the tube is not being pinched by the inner part of the wheel. Okay, we're holding that in place. We're holding that nut in place, turning over. We got a couple turns on there. Super simps. Same thing here, guys. Last one. Again, just go around and check in here, in the middle, okay? In this crevice, make sure the tube is not being pinched, okay? And a good way, again, to push that tube in there, just with the Allen key that we used. And we're doing one bolt at a time. Doing one bolt at a time is going to make the process a whole lot easier than trying to do all of them at once, okay? Okay. So now once we got a couple turns in, we can go around and tighten each one. I skip one every time and kind of just do the one that's straight across. And the good thing about this is the nut on the other side is being held by the groove in the wheel, okay? I don't ever tighten one nut up all at once. Final stages here, guys.